Joining me right now is UFC veteran and Australian FC welterweight contender, Anton the Professor Zafir. Welcome to Kumite Radio.
How you doing, buddy? It's been great to have me on the show.
All right, now you came up, you won the Nitro MMA welterweight title. You got your UFC call like most people want. Then you dropped two in a row. First time in your career. How did you gather yourself and pull yourself and get that win at Australian FC 20?
It was hard. It was, as you said, it was the first time I've dropped two in a row. Um, it was just self motivation, and I had some good people around me, making sure that that I kept the right frame mentally. I suppose keep it in the right headspace, and just knew that I could perform better. I knew that that wasn't me. It wasn't the best me, and that I had plenty more to give to the sport, and I just needed to get back in the gym and get preparing for the next one.
How important is the mental game in mixed martial arts?
I think it's super important. I think it's probably 60% physical or skill, and then 30 or 40% mental for sure. There's so many talented fighters out there, but just can't seem to put it together because they're not in the right mind frame. They doubt themselves. They overexert themselves mentally, and they can't focus on the important parts or the important aspects of the sport itself, or they don't have the right people around them. I think some of the fighters that jump from gyms to gyms, don't have that consistent group of people around them, motivating them, helping them out. Do have a lot of trouble with it, but it's just something that I've been lucky with, to have the same guys that I've had from the start that seem to keep me, centered, grounded, and motivated, which has been awesome.
Who exactly has kept you motivated, kept you centered? Give them a shout out. I'm pretty sure you want to.
Yeah, look, one of my best friends, Dan Zealand, he's been with me from the get-go. When we first started, I did 6 months with one of my coaches, who's still my coach now, Rob Graffita. And then I had to move away, and I was just lucky that this Dan was with me, and we pretty much taught ourselves how to fight, watching videos and practicing them. And he's pretty much been by my side since the first day. And then probably about 2 years into training, I met another guy, Ian Bone, who's actually another Australian welterweight champ, and I've been with him for the last 9 years as well. So the three of them, have just helped push, motivate me, develop me, call me out when I'm being precious. So those three guys have been with me from day dot, and they'll be with me until I finish.
What videos were you watching back then to teach yourselves how to fight? That's interesting.
Mate, I think it was just like we'd go on and find like the top 10 guard passes or the top 10 takedowns or something. So it was whoever was teaching those simple moves, and I just practiced it. And then every couple of months I'd go down and see Rob, and he'd probably give me 3 or 4 new moves, and that's all I'd practice for the next 3 or 4 months until I saw him again. So I got really good at the basics. That was about it.
Your last fight at Australian FC 20, first round TKO, vicious, I have to say. It was like you just came in and all of your frustrations came out in that fight, it seemed like. The ground and pound was crazy. Did you feel that it went a little too long? Because I saw your face at the end of that fight.
Yeah, I'm all for giving the fighters, and if you ask me after my last UFC fight in Vegas, I was actually really upset and disappointed that he stopped the fight when he did. The ref called it as a KO, and I was pretty annoyed about it, due to the fact that Lee only hit me 3 times and then he caught it. So I was a bit, as a fighter, I was a bit annoyed. But then there's also excessive violence that you sit there and you go, what are you doing? And Hoshi, after talking to him, can't even remember most of it after he got kneed in the head. So it was kind of one of those things where I was like, how much punishment do you let someone take before you jump in. I was a little disappointed in the ref. I think he could have stopped it a little bit earlier, but it's one of those things. I suppose if I was on the opposite end, you'd want as much chance as you can, but I was a little shocked he didn't stop it a little earlier, just for his sake.
Yeah, it seemed like after you need him, and then he kind of got into that turtle position, he was out of it already. I thought that the fight should have been ended right there. There was a lot of punches after that, but it is what it is. You can't control it. You're the fighter. You have to keep going. You can't call the fight yourself, right? So
yeah, that's it. Hey, you fight till the ref stops it, and it's something that I've always learnt. You just keep going until the ref tells you to stop, pulls you apart or something. So, I tried to finish it as quickly as possible, and the ref just let it drag out a little bit longer, which was on him, not me.
For sure. Now, you are a UFC veteran. You've held titles in Australia. Do you feel like there's a target on your back because the position that you're in?
Always, obviously all the upcoming fighters want to make a point by taking out a UFC, a UFC veteran, someone that's competed there. They want to go there, so they find that they think the easiest way to the UFC is to take out someone that's competed. On the other hand, I think I'm a bit more relaxed now, as well as the fact that I've been to the UFC. It's kind of like I'm not so worried now about not losing, rather than just enjoying the fight and going for that win. It's this stipulation that you're gonna have 5-fight win streak, before the UFC will look at you. So once you start getting that 3-4 fight win streak, you sit there going, oh, I probably should play this fight safe. I can't lose, rather than, I'm going to go out and dominate for the win, which I don't have that pressure anymore. Now I just get to go in, and it's kind of like when I first started fighting, just go in and look for the finish, have fun, and enjoy myself in there. So, and I get a lot more opportunities to fight now. Everybody's coming after me, so it's good.
It is good, right? Do you feel that this is like your second wind in your career?
Yeah, it's kind of. I feel like after you've lost the two on the trot, and then you get cut, it's kind of like, well, I got nothing left to lose. Each fight now is fun. It's enjoyable. There's I just get to go in and do what I love doing, which is fighting. I'm looking for exciting fights. And just taking the opportunities where they come from. So I think I've got a new leave on that life now, which I'm thoroughly enjoying, which has been good.
Welterweight title is on the line. You're facing Theo Christakos. Now, he is the brace welterweight champion right now, so it is a guy that, has some accolades that you could use, bounce off of, take out real quick, build your name even bigger. He's a tall, long, rangy guy. What challenges do you see with that?
Mate, everybody I've fought, I think, apart from Alex Volkanovski, has been taller than me. So I've been fighting taller opponents my whole life. Look, closing that distance is going to be hard. He's got long legs, long arms, so getting in on him is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I've been working on different techniques and different styles to try and get that engagement happening. And I've got some really good training partners that I've been working with that have that same similar build. You have a gym full of fighters, and each fight you pick out the ones that are better suited for your opponent for that upcoming fight. So it should be interesting. It adds its own complexities to the fight, but I think that's what makes it more enjoyable. I get to decide and think about how I'm going to approach this fight, which will be different to the one how I approached last fight as well.
Who exactly have you been working with? Who exactly, like your training partners, and is there any particular coaches that have come in to help you out?
Man, it's one of those things. From where I live, it's kind of away from everybody. So the nearest city, Brizzy, is about it's a 2-hour plane ride, or it's a 12-hour drive. I've had a couple of good mates that have flown up beforehand that have come and helped me out. which has been nice. But it's basically just the dudes that I see day in, day out, that just come in and put their body on the line for me and just help me out, which is the biggest thing, which is something that I've been really grateful, having a solid team behind me that are, they were very happy to sacrifice their body during fight camp to help me out, which has been nice.
Yeah, they say that the most dangerous fighter is a fighter that is comfortable in his surroundings and then that results into the confidence that is built, right?
Yeah, and something that I definitely have to agree with. I think, most of my fights I've trained at home, with the guys that I've had since day dot. I trust them. I know they'll push me to the brink of breaking down, but they won't try and hurt you or take you out or prove a point, which is something that I've seen in, other gyms and other conflicts around, gyms around the world where guys come in for a training camp and then the local fighters try and prove a point, try and hurt them, try and establish, that dominance or that, that pecking order. And I don't think the fighter gets the most out of that training camp. So it's something that I am thoroughly grateful for. Like I said, I've had the same guys pretty much around me for all 17 fights that I've had. So it's something that we know and we've got a good bond between ourselves.
In your preparations, it's mixed martial arts. Have you been focusing on one aspect, or are you just full on just everything? You're doing everything equally?
I think at this level, mate, it has to be equal. It's gone past that point where you go, I'm only going to be a wrestler. I'm only going to be a striker, because the guys that you're competing with are well-rounded. And, it's one thing that I've worked on is I don't want to be caught out in any one position where I don't feel comfortable. There are places that I'm happier being and that I enjoy being, but, I want to feel comfortable across the board. So this training camp, I've been really working on all three areas, striking, the wrestling, the grappling, and just putting it all together. So it's just, like I said, I want to be comfortable wherever this fight goes.
Looking forward, where do you see yourself? What is your new goal in life? Of course, your goal as a fighter was to reach the UFC. Now you're in your second leg of your career, like you said. What is your new goal?
I just want to fight the best guys around the world. I want to travel, I want to fight, and I want to enjoy it. I'm not interested in fighting guys that I've fought before. Whether I've lost to them or beaten them, I've got no desire to revisit those fighters. The guys that I've lost to, I talk to most of them. So it's not like I've got a vendetta against them. That I have to get that win back. Each of those losses taught me something that I've taken from and developed. So I just want new challenges, new experiences. I would love to fight over in Asia, something that I've never done. Jumping over to China or, maybe jumping into one FC, anything like that. Japan would be amazing. South Korea would be incredible as well. Just having some fights over in Asia would just, it's just something that I can look back at and go, look, I fought in Vegas, I fought around Australia, I fought in Asia. That's something that I want to finish off and be able to look back and say I did those things. So it's just about having fun, finding the best fighters, and making some experiences while I'm at it.
That's a great outlook, man. Great outlook. Before I let you go, I got one last thing. I want to ask you about Kudo. Your background in Kudo, man, like the headbutts. Talk about that a little bit.
Mate, it's only something that I've started to pick up in the last couple of years. Ian's one of the Ian coaches, is the Australian coordinator for it. So I got involved probably 4 years ago, and had my first fight over in Japan at the World Cup. And it was an eye-opener because, you practice it, but you don't actually realize how much fun it is to headbutt someone in a fight until you actually get to do it. and it's exciting. It's quick. It's fast. You know, it's enjoyable, and you don't wake up with, you know, closed eyes, stitches, and the rest of that rest of the business that goes with MMA. So, you know, you can have 2 or 3 fights in one day. Look, the danger's still there. There's plenty of guys getting KO'd, you know, while we were competing, but it just brings a new mix into things, because you can knee to the head off your back. You can headbutt, which is really exciting. So you try and find little fun, creative ways to throw in a headbutt here and there. So yeah, it's just an exciting opportunity again to travel and fight, and you know, change different styles and trying to adapt and just enjoy myself actually while competing.
Maybe you could head towards Myanmar and get into that Lethway. There, you know, that's the headbutting, you know, martial art right there. Right. All right. Anton Zafir, thank you for your time, man.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Kumite, for having me on this radio. It's awesome. See you guys.